Hey y'all, welcome to First Comes Love, Then Comes Marriage podcast. My name is Lindsey Jackson.
And I'm Aaron Jackson.
In this season 6 that we are in on our podcast, we are doing love letters to our children. And what that means is we're talking about what is happening in our life right now, and these little jewels that are going to be listened to when our children, who are now 6, 4, and 1, are in their
adulthood.
30s and adult, yes, exactly, 20s and 30s. So, and we're remembering them now so that they are close and visceral to us. So, this topic today, we are talking about our +1 hero dog of Christmas, Cider Gunnarsson. As he comes into frame, it is as if you knew Christmas.
Oh my goodness, you
knew. Okay,
she called your name and you just carried him.
It was before I called him. It's like he knew.
Okay, good job, puppy.
Okay,
you could get down though.
Okay, so we were talking, and Aaron said, people who know us know about our marriage, and then they know about our children, our wonderful 3 children. And then it's like, and you have a dog? You're like, you have 3 kids and a dog living in New York City in this like a 2-bedroom apartment in Harlem. And it's like, yes, and Christmas. And, we gave him his full name of Christmas Cider Gunnarsson. You want to talk on why you named him the Gunnarsson?
Oh, just because his dad, he's a Jackson also, but his dad's name was Gunner, and so I put Gunner's son because he's Gunner's son, because I didn't want him to forget who his dad was.
So Black Holes, we're gonna give him a full name. First, middle, and last. And he is wonderful and special, and anybody that knows us knows how special Christmas is to us. We want to talk a little bit about owning a dog, having a dog, making a dog a part of your family. And this loving dog right here came into our lives, and he's super special.
So you want to talk about how we got Christmas, or how you found Christmas first?
Yeah. Well, let's start from the beginning. I always wanted a dog. Okay. Now, I always wanted a dog. Growing up, I was going to have a dog. I was going to name him Lovelicious. And
really?
Yes. Okay. And we had a dog for maybe a week, 2 weeks, kids' memories. His name was Chili. And I just remember he pooped all over the house. He was a puppy. And the next day woke up and we didn't have this dog no more. That's pretty much how it went.
Okay.
And so I didn't have a dog growing up, but I wanted one so badly. And that's my experience with dogs. What about you?
We didn't have a dog, and then we did, and then like growing up, we didn't have a dog. So it was one dog that came into our lives. His name was Deucey, and we were trying to hide him from our dad. So we were trying to hide him from our dad, and so then we ended up like giving up Deucey after like a week or so, or something like that. And then there was another dog, Wyatt's dog, and I was older, so I don't know if but it was Swisher. Swisher was another dog, but none of those dogs really felt like mine. And also, when we got married, it was part of like our marriage prep. It was like, do you want a pet, or do you want to? And that was something that we differentiated on. I was always like, no.
And I said, you always like, yes. But it wasn't a make or break. Like, it's not like, do you want kids? Yes and no. It was like, I can. And you were like, not really.
Because, no, I was like, no.
Because you also said you were allergic to dogs. And I was like, really? Who told you that?
Oh, yeah. My parents did say I was allergic to dogs. And you know what? In their defense, I could have been. I only took like one allergy test when I was like 5 or 6. So you could grow out of allergies.
Sure. But also, I doubt it. You was 1 of 5. Everybody had asthma. They was like, we ain't bringing a dog in this situation.
Yeah, that's true.
So I get that. The answer is you're allergic as a parent. So that's fine. But here we are now, and we have our 80-pound golden doodle. He is a mix between a golden retriever and a poodle. And he's beautiful. This beautiful dog in our home. And how we got Christmas is we just experienced a heavy, tragic loss of our first son, Jack Major Jackson. And we have episodes and we have talked about this unexpected loss in our lives. And I was sitting at home in this apartment complex, in another apartment, but in this building. And I was at home by myself because Aaron went back to work. And I was on maternity leave without a baby, without my mom, because she had flown in and then had to go back home to tend to my dad. And there was a lull of in between people to come and visit me. My mom had set up people to check on me. Um, and there was no one in the house. And for the first time, I think it was like in between my sister and roommate or whoever was coming to visit me, I was no one in the house. I was alone for the first time. And I felt like I was going to die. And I can feel it like it was today, not yesterday, like it was today. And I remember sitting on the floor and Aaron was at home and I was like, I need something.
I wasn't at home.
No, I mean you were at work. I was
Yeah.
at home and I was like, I need something. And I just kept, he was at work and I can only imagine you getting this call at work. But I was like, I need something. I need a dog. And I'm like grasping for things because I was trying to hold on to life. And I was like, I need a dog. I need a dog. And I've always wanted a dog. So, there's that. But I was like, I need a dog. And this is going to help me in this process of grief and healing. And like I said, I can feel this moment for me. But then I called my dad and I was like, Daddy, I need help getting a dog. And this is like, I'm telling you, this is a whole day.
Yeah.
We probably made this decision to get Christmas in what, less than 24 hours?
Yeah.
You found him. I was like, I knew I wanted a golden doodle. I had already like looked into dogs somewhat.
Yeah.
But I was like, we're going to get this golden doodle. You found him with this breeder in Rochester, New York, which is about like 5 hours driving away from us. And I called this lady and she was like, this is the last one of these 11 dogs.
All boys.
This mother poodle had 11 male puppies and Christmas was the last one. And I was like, we'll take him.
Yeah. And also the reason, like, usually puppies sell, especially golden doodles, they'll sell really fast.
They sell before they're born,
but
they're already claimed.
But since all of them were like males,
yeah,
that's why he was still available.
Yeah, because not everyone wants a male dog.
Yeah,
some people want female dogs.
So
and there was nothing wrong with him. He had no defects. He had there's nothing wrong. He was the last one. She had 11 puppies and he was the last one. And I was like, this again, God knew this dog is for me. So we were like, we come in and I don't even know if you had work the next day. I just know you got a car. We got in the car and we drove to get our dog. And I remember sitting in that car. I don't even know if we were talking because I was in a silent state of my grief. Like still puppy eyes, still like just baggy clothes and sunken, if you will. And on the way to Rochester, we stopped at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron asked me, what are you going to name him?
Oh, that was before. That was on the way on. As we were driving, I asked you, what are we going to name him?
Yeah. But I remember getting out of the car at the gas station because everything to me at the time, I was not like very verbal. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I was like, I don't know. I knew like I would have moments of like, and all of this like rage or anger or sadness and depression and then stillness and then clarity. So I get out the car at this gas station and I go inside and I'm like walking around inside the store not looking for anything because I'm not hungry. And and he came to me and he was like, well, you said, well, think what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And I said, Christmas time makes me happy. Can we? And I got back in the car and I was like, can we name him Christmas? Can we? And you were like, yeah. which is as we're talking about this, it's bringing up a lot of memories for me because fast forwarding to today, Christmas is 7 years old, and he was actually born December 26th, the day after Christmas. We didn't know this at the time. This is in March, y'all.
Yeah.
We got Christmas in March, and we were just looking for a dog. We were going to name him Christmas either way, and this was our dog. So now this episode could be like a combination of dog ownership and the healing part of grief and loss, because that's what Christmas means to us. But we really were starting to talk about how, you know, dog ownership changes your life. If you've never had a dog, which we've never had a dog, we didn't know what to do.
Yeah. The thing about Christmas is, I'm sorry, we keep saying your name, puppy. The thing is, he first of all, he was made for us. He was made for you. And the way that you dove into training him, it was like I have to train him. He needs to be trained, and you trained him yourself. Like we did go to the puppy classes. Um, like Christmas is he has a really good sit and stay. Um, he has good recall and stuff like that. But like even doing the tricks and walking and doing like everything, or like if like giving him a task, so like if you have anxiety or something, that he could be a service dog. Like you did all of that. Like you did the research. I remember that day. It was a Wednesday, and I was at work, and I got a call from you. And the call that I remember was, it was like, I'm not gonna make it. Basically, yeah. It was like, I'm not gonna make it. And I felt the pain in your I felt the pain in your whole like voice. Like this wasn't you like begging for attention or anything. It was literally a cry for help. And I was at work. And
What work were you at the time?
I was at Howard Hughes.
You were at Howard Hughes?
I was at Howard Hughes.
I thought you were at Tavern. I didn't know it was that. That's it. Where you were working didn't matter.
I was at Howard Hughes, and it was so interesting because one of the reasons I took the job at Howard Hughes is because one of my best friends was working there too. And she saw me take that call, and she saw my face. And when I got off the phone, she was like, "What's up?" I was like, "I gotta go," and she was like, "I'll cover you." And because she knew, like the reason I took that job, it was like 3 people I knew from Tavern all knew about Jack, and so it was kind of like they had my back. And she actually took that job. She was in San Francisco, and she flew, and she actually took the job back in New York. And she was like, "I'll cover you, go." And so I came home, and that Wednesday I came home, and we started looking up dogs. Your dad was like, "Here's the money. This is how much the dog costs. Here's like, if Christmas costs like 2 G's, your dad gave us like 75 to 80%.
Yeah.
So we just had to come up with the rest of it. I found the dog, called her up, and then we left on Friday or Saturday.
Right.
Because I do remember there was days where I had to leave. I had to go back to work to leave you, and I was just like, "Hey, like, we're getting this dog. Be okay. Like, I need you to be okay." Like, one thing, if you go back to past episodes, and past seasons, it's like, yo, just live one more day. Which is, I mean, another like the live part. We have a daughter named Liv now, but yeah, if you could just live for one more day. So, then yeah, like you said, the car ride was not that talkative. We we didn't talk that much during this whole thing. We talked a little bit.
Yeah.
We were grieving. I mean,
No,
so
I remember I was definitely in the silent age. I was
yeah,
like, I would sit home and watch Living Single and be quiet.
yeah,
And I think that's why I wanted a dog too, because if I could be quiet with another being next to me, that's something.
yeah.
Then,
In fact, you prefer that when your friends and people came over to
yeah,
just not talk.
we can be quiet.
Um, so I drove out there, and I did ask what makes you happy. I remember you had to go to the bathroom. So I don't know if you went to the bathroom. I was pumping gas. It was, and then you came out. He was like Christmas cider, and I was like, okay. And it was literally we're signing the papers. He's in this little crate thing. It was another puppy that was getting picked up
But they were
whenever.
already owned, so
Yeah,
but
they're
they were
already
still
owned, but
there.
they were kind of playing with each other.
His
And
brother.
I said, like, as we're signing, I was like, by the way, when's his birthday?
I did not care about any of
Yeah,
this. I didn't ask this lady any questions.
yeah,
And I remember you said that. And she was like, "Oh, he was born December 26th."
yeah,
And I said, "What? Okay." And
yeah.
we probably have 3 pictures of Christmas as a puppy. He was already like 17 pounds. You know, when you get puppies,
He
they're
was
supposed to.
13 pounds.
He
So
was 17
he
pounds.
was
Well, he was
13.
17 pounds when we took him to the vet. And we had to take him to
Oh,
the
okay.
vet within 2 days because I remember that. And they were like, this is a red. His color is a red golden doodle, 17 pounds. So, anyways, I have this picture with Christmas in the car. Like you would like take a picture. And I have one little picture
Oh
of
yeah,
Christmas
right.
as a
Yeah,
puppy. And I'm just like,
I have like, and so Christmas came home. I remember that night I slept with Christmas,
yeah.
in the crate. So it was like we're doing research. It was like we knew he was going to be a big dog, and they were like, you need to crate train your dog if you're going to be in New York and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one thing is you get something that he's familiar with. So the lady had like a little blanket or something that he used to have, and so we brought that, and we had a huge crate
We had a big
for
crate
that little
for
puppy.
it was yeah, and you slept in the living room with
And
him.
I just slept right next to him on the hard whatever
Yeah.
aluminum floor.
I don't know. Yeah, and
Uh,
that was it.
and the thing about this dog, I remember way back. Uh, I've said this to a parent before, and I was like, "Hey, like they were talking about kids." I was like, "Oh, we it was before Jack. It was like, oh yeah, well we might get a dog or something." I said something like that. I was like chit chatting with some of your Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a barbecue, and the guy was like, he said, "You can't leave a dog. You can't leave kids in the house for 8 hours as you go to work or
Mm-hmm.
something." He was like, "That ain't the same."
Because people compare dogs to kids all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Christmas. The fact that you had the time to do all the training, like, is amazing. And so he is people who meet Christmas, they're like, is he a human in there? Like,
Christmas is a special type of dog,
yeah,
but then also, yes, I was on maternity leave for 4 more months or something like that
because of your job.
because of my job. I had already taken this time off. I could not go back to work, but I did not have the planned baby. So
Hmm.
it's like, well, what do you do? And then we got Christmas. Such a blessing. God knew what I needed. And yeah, I poured everything into this dog. I mean, and I could have tipped over the scale. I'm sure people like I got off of Instagram and I started his a dog, my Christmas's own Instagram, and he blew up
It's
and
still up,
it's
yeah.
still up, but he blew up and got all these followers. And people probably thought I was absolutely crazy and lost my mind. I put Christmas in like the baby swings at a playground. I Christmas has so many sweaters. I took him everywhere, but I also, like you said, he's trained. This is a trained dog because I knew I wanted to go everywhere with this dog. So I click trained him with this little clicker where you give him a treat or you pet him every time he does something right. We went to at least 5 different classes, like a puppy class, a tricks class,
Hmm.
like at all the classes all over New York. And it was just him and I. It was us.
Yeah.
It was this understanding that yes, I can cry in front of you, we can sit, we can just do our thing. And I remember as we got into summer, and then as I became pregnant again, and being nervous, anxious again, it was me and Christmas. And it was like, okay, we're gonna do this together, Christmas. So this dog, and having a dog is very special. I remember during the pandemic, like fast forward to the pandemic, everybody was like, we should get a dog, we should get a
Yeah. Yeah.
dog. And I remember telling people, like, a dog is a big responsibility. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
dogs are super fun and they're very cute, but also a dog is a big responsibility. You should take care of them in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, like, yeah, you could leave a dog in the house for 12 hours, but you shouldn't leave a dog alone for that length of time. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And this is, I'm not like, again, a crazy dog person, but we take care of Christmas in the best of way because he's a part of our family.
Yeah. And I feel like when it comes to just having a dog and having that responsibility, I remember like on Instagram and just like in life, it's like, oh, give the gift of a puppy. Like, have the
Oh,
puppies coming out the box and
yeah.
like, are they running to
And they're
the
just
thing?
with the little bow on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, one of my sayings is do not give the gift of responsibility. Like if you're gonna give a gift, don't make somebody responsible for it. And Christmas, like having a dog, it's it is like fatherhood. It is a form of parenting. It's not the same. Like, but like he does catch a vibe,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you're sad and like I was like, man, he grew off of the water of your tears, like all the time. Like that's how he got so big. People want to know why Christmas got so big. He was getting watered all the time. Uh like he knows like, oh, it's excitement time, it's go time, it's nervous time. Let me come closer. And like he catches the vibe very well. And I feel like all dogs that I've known are like that. Like when their owner is feeling some type of way, they're in tune with that owner. And the same thing with like children. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Dogs even more because like you can try to hide. Like if we're broke and when the lights are turned off and it's like, oh, let's play flashlight games or something like that. You can hide that from kids. But like dogs can sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a form of parenting. It is a different parenting. Like I don't like to say which one is greater because some people can't parent a child
Mm-hmm.
like physically or they don't want to adopt or anything like that. So I'm not going to say which one is greater, but I they are different.
And I will say that Christmas did prepare us for parenthood
Oh
that we
yeah.
didn't know. Because even though we were having a child before Christmas, and then we got Christmas, but he prepared us for our now children because, I mean, there's a lot that we did for him that we didn't
Yeah.
know about. I mean, Christmas is daily work. As far as, I mean, for one, we were going outside with Christmas every day. Well, we
You
still
had to
do.
go outside.
We have to go outside with him, and people are always like, why do your kids go outside every day? Especially because we're from LA,
Yeah.
and you can kind of like, you can be in the house all day if you really wanted to, or you might tell your kids if they're old enough, like, go to the backyard, but you don't got to
uh yeah.
take them outside. You don't have to take them to the park like we do with our children.
Yeah.
And we were doing this with Christmas, and I mean, that was again a form of healing for me,
Mm-hmm.
because if I have to walk this dog, if I have a purpose every day, then I have to do something every day. And so we were doing that before we became parents, like
And he had to
getting up
go.
early.
He was going out 3 times a day.
Yeah. He had
3 walks.
getting up early. I was always a morning person, but to get up and have a responsibility, that's also training for parenthood.
And also, me and Christmas, when I started running, Christmas was the one that started running for me.
Yep.
The thing that Christmas really prepared me for when it comes to be like a father of a human, it's like it's not about you. You have to take care of me first. And also you have to clean up after me.
especially when they're puppies. Yes.
Yeah, or when they throw up because they ate a bag,
Our
or
first year with Christmas, he ate everything, threw up all the time, diarrhea, and he's
yeah,
a healthy, happy dog. But he was a puppy, and you cleaned up after him a lot.
I cleaned up after Christmas, and I had to just like this is my dog.
That's how we found out he was allergic to watermelon. We was like, how we get a dog allergic to watermelon?
I know, and he
He loves
loves watermelon.
he to this day.
He would eat a whole watermelon and
Please.
throw it all up.
Yep.
And I was like I think also like pork. He doesn't like it. Doesn't agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was either pork or something. One of them. So we stay with chicken and bacon.
Yes.
But
Chicken
bacon
and
is
bacon.
pork.
No. It was lamb.
It's something.
No, we stay with chicken.
We stay with chicken. He loves it. He could eat some chicken. But he does like hot dogs.
No.
So that was like that's one thing that prepared me. It's just like it's not about you, and also you got to get over being disgusted when this is your child.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things that I had to learn. That was really good. Another thing that I had to learn is like consistency when it comes to doing something. So like with training, like we're about to start potty training Liv right now because
Mm-hmm.
she's ready. She's been telling us when she's pooping now. And with Christmas, yeah, it's one thing to go to the puppy classes and he could learn sit and stay and he could go to this class, but consistently doing trainings.
Yeah, we were
Even
good at that.
like you would Lindsay would be like, all right, this is what you do because you were training me how to train Christmas.
Yes.
Because she would take the lessons or watch the YouTube
I
and
had
do all that
books.
stuff.
I watched
Yeah.
YouTube. I was
And so
in
you were
here.
training me how to train them, and so I had to do that on a Saturday and Sunday, where it's like, okay, let's go out and we do 15 minutes of training, and like being consistent. It's another thing that prepared me for being a father.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to be consistent when it comes to like, oh, if we're reading, let's do learn time every day, or let's do a learn time every Saturday. These things are essential to like the father that I am now. And the third thing is like Christmas was the first time that you start calling me dad, like dad or daddy.
And
Go to
now
daddy.
he knows. He runs to you. I'll be like,
Yeah.
go to daddy.
Yeah.
Like even if he can't see you, sometimes I'll be just trying to get him in the house, Christmas in the house, and I'm like, Christmas, come on, and he don't want to come, and I say, Christmas, go to daddy, and then he will go, and that's true.
And so since we're talking, let's talk to our children, like the episode. Why you go so far away?
Oh, I'm just listening.
Oh.
I was taking in the question.
I want to know. They're growing up with a dog, and the question basically is kind of like, all right, if do you think there are benefits to having a pet, or was ours just like a special circumstance, and so since it's a special circumstance, if Action's trying to live, come in and they want pets and stuff like that, like how do you feel? Action comes to you, it's like, hey, I really want a dog. My wife doesn't want a dog.
Yeah. No, I definitely think there are benefits of growing up with a pet. The one thing that I will say before I tap into the benefits, though, is I do hear that because this makes me sad, they don't live as long. You know, they're not for the longevity of your life. The sadness that comes with losing a family pet is hard. But that also can help you with grief and loss. And with grief and loss comes empathy and understanding. So learning about that early on is
Wait, say that again. With grief and loss comes
empathy and understanding.
Okay.
And learning about that younger helps you to mature,
emotional EQ.
Yep, emotional maturity, become less selfish of a person, having, and you know, that's a hardship, if you will, but it helps with life. So that is a factor of
I did want to
having a
say
dog.
I did want to say, since you said that, for me, and I know comparison's the thief of joy, and we say all these things, but having loss makes you appreciate life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, having a loss of a loved one, we appreciate their lives, but then it makes you, we recently had a loss in our family, and like, I had a deeper conversation with my dad than I had before. Like, it was more so, it was my dad. He was still my dad, but I feel like he opened up a little bit more of like as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
and like, man, I lost my friend,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I could relate to like losing a friend. Like, I've lost friends when I was in high school and stuff like that from gun violence and gangbanging and stuff like that. But it was just interesting, and it makes me hug my children a little harder and stuff like that. It just, I know that it's a sad part, but it also is kind of like, it does make you appreciate, or it does for me, it does make me appreciate the things that I do have when I lose something. But continue, sorry.
No, I agree. It is, especially if you can connect with someone. I think that there are times, there are situations, there are times when you experience loss and you can't, or you feel like you can't connect with anyone, and that is lonely,
Mm.
and that is sad. And that is a time where it's like, well, how do I get through this? And then there are times where a loss is experienced and expressed with so many people, because people are like, yes, I also, we can talk about all the good times with this person. And then you have this deeper connection, as you're saying, and you're like,
Mm.
and now we're growing together because of this shared
Yeah.
loss. So, there's both sides of that. Um, but with children, having a dog, going back to that, it's definitely beneficial for them for responsibilities,
Mm-hmm.
for then understanding about pets and animals, because there are so many kids that do not understand how or not to approach
A dog,
a
yeah.
dog, violent animals just in general.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Action grew up with Christmas because
Mm-hmm.
they're connected. But he knows how to talk to Christmas. He thinks he's training Christmas. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm his dominant right now. But he also knows how to play with Christmas in the right manner, not to touch his tail, not to
Mm-hmm.
be near his eyes, how to get something out of his mouth if it's dangerous, when to step away. And I look at him and I'm like, that to me is brave. He
Yeah.
is a brave, these are brave children because they know how to do something that I did not know how to do as a
I was
child.
scared of dogs when I was younger.
Exactly. And he knows not to run away. I remember running away from a dog
Mm-hmm.
that was not a bad dog, but when you run from a dog, they're going to run because they think you
Yeah.
playing. And I was terrified of this dog. And, Action knows he don't do that. If there's a dog, he knows the right way to do something, the right way to get behind, the right
Mm-hmm.
way to, and that benefits of growing up with also then an 80-pound dog in the
Yeah.
house is he knows all these things. So whereas I know that we are going to have again a shared experience
Mm-hmm.
whenever Christmas leaves us.
Our technology might change, and he can live forever.
I
Live forever,
know.
Christmas.
Look now, he
35
he
years.
will live forever with us, because I also, Christmas was the first period that I have thousands of pictures in my camera roll.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I have about 60,000 pictures of Christmas, and then Christmas with people, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, there are definite benefits of growing up with a dog, with a pet, in your life.
Yeah. If they came to me and they were like, we're thinking about getting a pet or a dog, uh, the the one thing I was like, make sure it's not a gift. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's a joint decision with you and your partner, and also be prepared for the work,
Yeah.
because it's not like it's, yeah.
It
it's
is
work.
work. We literally, like, even now, as much as we love Christmas, there are times when after I drop off the kids, I want to come home and sit down and we sacrifice for him. I get up and I take him for a walk. We take him to the dog park. We He has to enjoy life as well. We
Yeah.
got him, so we can't just negate him.
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
and just because we have kids now,
Yeah.
children now, doesn't mean that. That's another thing that helped me prepare for fatherhood, because it's like I have this puppy, and also now I have action.
There are so many people that when they have a dog before they have kids, they then give up their dog. They say,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness, it's too much work."
Yeah.
Because it is still the work of it. We have to give him up. We can't dedicate the time that we were dedicating to him now that we have children. And it's also, dogs are very different from cats because cats are kind of self-reliant.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who keep their cats, but people with dogs and then they have children, they're like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
it's a lot of
usually
work.
the reverse. They have kids first, and then their kids become a certain age, and
And
then
then
they
they get a
bring a
dog.
dog in,
Yeah.
and so they're able to continue to, because you have to take care of them. So usually, same thing with children. People want babies. They're like, oh my goodness, I love babies. I love when you post this picture of this baby, it's so cute. I love that part. Okay, so that's 3 minutes. The other 23 plus hours, that's the work. And so it's the same thing with puppies. They see this cute puppy and it's like, oh my gosh, I want to go to a puppy farm and I want to pet puppies. And then they don't see the other poop, pee, zoomies are running around back and forth, tearing up your house, this and that. They don't see all the other sides of it. And so this isn't to discourage it, but this is just the reality
of
behind
work.
it.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, you gotta do it both. You gotta sit there. We would, electricity bill, we would play, because they said at the time, if you do leave a puppy alone, let them have some sounds.
Yeah.
So we would play on our projector, like the news. At one point, we had podcasts on.
Yeah, now we play our podcast.
We play our so you can hear our voice.
If I know I'm going to be gone for a long time, we'll play the podcast so Christmas can hear. So now this might be his favorite one. But he's going to keep hearing. They be like, what? Huh?
Where are they? They're calling me.
Yeah. All right. So, do you have a poll question?
Yeah, I mean, the poll question is like, with everything that you know, would you get a dog?
Would you get a dog? Because some people are like, I am not a dog person.
Yeah. A lot of people actually that we know say, I'm not a dog person, but I love Christmas.
Oh, 1,000%.
They love, everybody we know is like, I love Christmas. And also, if I can have a dog my mom says, like, I want a dog like Christmas. I want him already trained.
Yeah.
I want him continuously groomed, because people, it's so much that we do to Christmas that then when we see other dogs, they're like, well, this is the exact same dog as yours. And it barks and it's matted and it's
yeah.
But we love him and we take care of him as such.
We do. That's my dog.
That's my dog. That's my dog. So yes, I encourage people to get dogs. They're definitely healing and loving.
Make sure your dog is trained. Don't be having your dog barking and lunging and doing all that stuff. Train your dog. It's plenty of YouTubes. All right.
Okay, so as usual, we want to hear from you. Email us at letstalk at firstcomesLove.com. You can DM us at firstcomeslove.tcm on Instagram.
You can always like, follow, subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's at firstcomeslove. And you can listen to us on anywhere you get a podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Anywhere you get a podcast, we're there. So, talk to you Tuesday.